All right, welcome to section 3 in chapter 4 where we will be posting column totals from our journal into our general ledger. So like I mentioned yesterday, we left our special amount columns alone when we were posting individually, and now we're ready to put those into our general ledger accounts as well. So our only objective today is to learn how to post column totals from our journal to our ledger accounts. So, journal entries that are not posted individually, okay? There are certain amounts. There are our forwarding totals. Now remember, our forwarding totals is when we get to the end of a journal page and it says we're carrying forward. We do not post those amounts, okay? Also, any amounts that are recorded in the special amount columns, as I mentioned yesterday. Now, in order for us to assure that there are no postings that get overlooked, we don't want to have any blank posting reference spaces in our journal. So if there is a blank one, typically what we would do is we place a check mark. A check mark to us signifies that we don't post those amounts individually. And like I said, they're either going to be forwarding totals or they're going to be in the special amount columns. So let's take a look at some of those examples. So here you can say or see we have some check marks. Here is our first one. This is a brought forward amount. So we must have gotten to the end of a journal page. Here we are on page 2. So our brought forward totals, we do not post this, or any of these 3. Okay, so what that says, the check mark says, is that we don't post anything in these lines. And again, we just don't want to have an empty post reference column because that could look to us like we forgot something. Our other options here, as you can see on the 24th, if you remember when we were journaling, I said, if we don't have anything that goes in our general debit or general credit columns, we put a check mark. And the reason that is, we put it both in our account title and in our post reference column is because what happened is usually we received cash for sales. And so since there isn't anything in our general debit, general credit, we put a check mark to indicate that both of those accounts, or both of those amounts, I should say, are in special amount columns. So as I just indicated, check marks that are in our post reference column, they are just saying that we don't post those amounts individually. And you can see why that would be, we just explained. The other place where we place check marks is at the bottom of our general debit, general credit columns. So we talked about proving and ruling our journal at the end of chapter 3. So you can see here that we have totaled our general debit, general credit, sales, and our cash columns. We do not have to post our general debit total or our general credit total. If you think about it, where would those totals actually go? We don't have an account called general debit, and we don't have an account called general credit. So there's no place for those to go. Also, each of those has already been posted to where it needs to go individually. So like this equipment rental expense, you can see that was already posted to C13. Okay, so we don't have to do anything with that. So we put a check mark in parentheses under our general debit and general credit column totals. What that does leave, though, and this just explains what I was just saying about how we don't post our general debit and general credit columns. What we do post, however, is our sales credit total, our cash debit total, and our cash credit total. Those are our special amount columns. Now, if you think about it, why would we do a total instead of doing them individually? Well, what it really comes down to is saving time. Sales and cash get used frequently. So if we were going to post those individually, we'd be doing it all the time. You could have 20 transactions that you need to post for sales or 50 transactions that you need to post for cash. And you just don't need to because we can do it as part of a total. So that's what we do. So what happens is the same posting procedure that we used in yesterday's lesson. It's just we put our post reference number in a few different places. So we start off with our date again. The date, because it happens to be a total, is always the last day of the month. So whether that's the 30th or the 31st, or if we're working in February, the 28th, we put our total down here just like we did yesterday. We still put our journal page number because we happen to be on the second page. Make sure you pay attention. This is page number 2, comes down into the post reference column. And then we write our column total. Our sales has a credit, and that's what this is for, in case you forget it's a sales credit column. So we put our 5,820 here. We dump that right into our credit column. And we transfer over our new account balance since there wasn't anything before that. So we have a balance in our sales account of 5,820. And then we still take our account number, which is that 410, except we don't put it up in this post reference one where we did before. We put it underneath our sales credit column in parentheses. So that's what this is for right here. And that's it. Very simple. Same posting procedure that we used. It's just that we're doing a total instead of doing them individually. So let's take a look at cash. Same thing. We're on the 30th. We're on journal page number 2. We have a debit this time for cash of $7,120. We transfer over our new account balance, and we put our account number, which is 110, up underneath our cash debit total. Now, we're also going to do our cash credit, and so here you can see what we need to do in order to make sure that we're calculating correctly. So because cash has 2 special amount columns, a debit and a credit, we do need to post that number, or we need to post each of those separately. So we did our debit first, now we're going to do our credit. So same thing with our date and our page number. This time we had a cash credit of $4,523, so we put that in our credit column. Again, very important that you get it in the right column. If you don't get it in the right column in terms of debit or credit, MindTap will count it wrong, so you want to make sure you put it in the correct place. Then we need to do a little bit of addition or subtraction. In our case, it's subtraction, because we have a debit balance and it's getting credited by $4,523. So we take the difference between those two and we get an updated balance of $2,597. And then last but not least, we take the same account number, 110, and put it up under our cash credit column. And that's all there is to it, is posting our special amount columns, sales credit, cash debit, and cash credit. Now again, the reason we do this is to save time. So instead of having to post every single one of those in a journal page, and you can see, you've seen it, you did like your chapter 3 mastery problem where you had all those amounts that affected sales and cash. Instead of posting those individually, you just have to do it once as part of the total. That's why it's so great. And so here's a completed one, journal page, having been journalized, proven and ruled, and then posted. So you can see here, all of these check marks are indications that we didn't have to post anything individually. You can see there's nothing in our general debit, general credit. They were sales credit and cash debit transactions. Here's one for supplies. So this is the supplies posting of 130. We had a few more that didn't need to be posted. Here we're posting individually. Notice that we're not doing anything with these cashes over here. We're going to do that as part of the total. And then, then we come down to the bottom. We don't post the general debit total. We don't post the general credit total, but we do post sales, cash debit, and cash credit. Again, if we didn't do it as a total, you would have to do each one of these individually, and that's just a waste of time when you can do it as part of a total. Okay? And then this is just a completed general ledger. I know they're hard to see, so if you wanted to, you could pull this up on your own. But this is just all of our different accounts. You've got cash, petty cash. We've got our accounts receivable, supplies, prepaid insurance. A couple of our liabilities, our capital and drawing accounts, sales, and then all of our expenses. And those just show all of the different postings from this journal page. Okay? So we are going to head on over to MindTap and do our 4-3 work together, where we will be posting our special amount column totals.